Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back everybody for another exciting YouTube video. This is going to be a Cardano ADA video. Now, we haven't actually covered Cardano since our last video nearly a week ago, where we spoke about the fact that we had looked to buy ADA for the first time in a long time back on the 5th of January. Please watch my daily cryptocurrency market updates for my kind of views on the market. You know, we've taken this non-bearish stance really from the 1st of January. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not calling for lower prices necessarily, but what it means is we're not betting on downside anymore. And actually, for the first time in a long time, we accumulated some spot Cardano. But this is not going to be a price-oriented video. You know, we really are trying to cover blockchain fundamentally and what it's doing, and look at who we think the winners and losers are going to be. And we're going to do that in this video because recently, we're going to do a few things in this video. We're going to talk about sidechains. That's going to be the predominant theme of this video, and just how revolutionary they are, because they could potentially be the very facilitator of interoperability and vertical scalability through running multiple sidechains that do different things, maybe connect the EVM space or IBC or whatever it is, which nobody's actually developing an IBC Cardano sidechain or DApp or whatever it is at the moment, but that's potentially something I would like to look more into, but that's for another video. You know, sidechains potentially could be how Cardano gains mass adoption and actually facilitates that mass adoption, because we all want mass adoption in the crypto space. Ethereum wanted it, and it found out very quickly that actually it was kind of kryptonite. You know, as it gained all these users, the blockchain just simply couldn't scale. And how do, given the fact that we've been talking about Cosmos and Polkadot and how we think this layer zero or their way of doing blockchain is genius, how does a layer one like Cardano scale with potentially a whole ecosystem of layer ones? And I'm going to tell you how that's done in this video. You know, just because we're big fans of Polkadot, Atom, we like things like Algorand, we're also a big fan of Cardano, and I actually believe that Cardano's underlying consensus and mainframe, its blockchain, is a beautiful one. It's beautifully put together, and providing that we can get all of these theories that have been written up over the years and peer-reviewed and scholarly looked at into practice, I think it's going to do very well. And I think actually with sidechains, this is how I envision the future for Cardano. You're going to have loads of sidechains, this kind of network of sidechains that are layer one. Well, they're layer twos really, but they're kind of like layer ones. But they harness the underlying security of Ouroboros and Cardano. And that's actually how they're going to be able to compete with the likes of Polkadot and Cosmos, that are kind of, you know, set out to be these ecosystem of layer ones that just fall back on Polkadot or Cosmos for security and you know, inherently get interoperability and stuff like that. Well, Cardano could do the same thing through the method and means of sidechain. So we're going to be talking about that. I also want to, and I'll save this to the end of the video, Charles Hoskinson is looking to buy Coindesk, sorry, not Coinbase. Coinbase very confusingly on my screen. That's why I was thinking about it. My dyslexic brain going all over the place. There's a lot more to this. Not only would this be a huge win for Cardano, as they've typically got quite a bad rap in the media, Coindesk being one of them. But actually, Charles Hoskinson talks about how he could revolutionize the entire media space. And I'm totally on board with this. You know, we need this kind of pillar of truth to weigh everything against. And if people are accountable for what they say, what better way to make sure they're telling the truth than that? And he talks about this real faith that's been lost in regards to the media. And I have zero faith in the media in the same way that I have zero faith in politics. It's because of the corruption. And this is what blockchain at a fundamental or ideological level is actually trying to do. And this is really the direction I want to take the channel. Really looking at those fundamentals, blockchain as a tech, where it's going, how it's impacting the world, and some of the cool things that are taking place. And this is certainly interesting, but we will talk about this. So let's talk about sidechains. Like I say, we're not going to talk about the price, but I may use TradingView's chart to sort of draw what I mean by this is how Cardano is going to scale and gain interoperability. This was sort of a video that I wanted to do for a while. I'm going to do more of an in-depth, and I've actually got a developer coming on to talk about this video at some point. But I just want to get some basic information out there and just talk about how much of a big deal sidechains are. So the Cardano sidechain toolkit was previewed at the Scotfest, and we're happy to share the first integration is out now. Here's the lowdown on this existing new, new project. And it's talking about Cardano EVM sidechain toolkits. Now, I believe Milkamida, who's a sidechain for Cardano, but they're also a sidechain for Algorand. They won it from the grants program. They're building EVM sidechains, which will give Algorand or Cardano in this case compatibility with the EVM language and kind of almost bring in many ways these two ecosystems together. But actually, I don't think it's going to stop there with sidechains. I think you're going to end up with WASM sidechains. You're going to end up with all these other sidechains that bring these, an IBC sidechain maybe. I don't know if there's a way you can do an XCM sidechain. All these different sidechains that are essentially going to allow Cardano not only to scale vertically, but actually essentially become interoperable. And in the same way that people build a parachain on Polkadot and harness its security, or on Cosmos and harness the underlying sort of ecosystem, Cosmos, people will be able to do the same thing on Cardano. And we're going to talk about it. So IOG launched a toolkit for developing customer sidechains on Cardano. So I thought to myself, if we're going to gain real world adoption, we're going to have all these big companies, or institutions, I should say, more so than companies, but companies as well, build on top of the blockchain space. Does it make sense for them to build a dApp or their own layer one blockchain, like what Cosmos and Polkadot can do? Now, I've had a number of arguments with a number of people, and actually I've had some very good reasons why they would want to build a dApp, and some very good reasons why they would want to build a layer one blockchain. But what about them building a layer two sidechain? And if Cardano's consensus mechanism and underlying blockchain can prove to be, and it may do, the most secure out of them all. And bear in mind, guys, it's been running fine for a long time now without any hiccups. If it continues to prove itself, well, if you're a big company, like for example, most institutions didn't want to build on Solana because it kept stopping and there was constantly issues. If you're a big company, you're going to go with a blockchain that's been running for a good period of time without any hiccups. And essentially that could be Cardano. And the consensus that they've used, Ouroboros, is a very admired one. It's a beautiful one, to be quite honest with you. The Haskell language, we've got somebody coming on to talk about who's actually onboarding multiple languages to Cardano. So you'll be able to write smart contracts, things like Python, TypeScript, so on and so forth. But that's for another video. That'll probably be coming out in a couple of weeks' time. If essentially this underlying base layer proves to be immutable, secure, and a fan favorite, then actually what you'll get is people harnessing that through layer two sidechains that reference the layer one and allow you to do whatever you want, whether it be build an EVM chain, whether it be build a loyalty blockchain or whatever. And this is actually how Cardano, in my opinion, is going to stay competitive. It's something we're going to see really take off and actually really broaden and achieve that mass adoption. And we've already seen things like Midnight security sidechain. We've got things like Mithril. We've got so many things coming. Hydra, which is a way that you take those transactions off of the main chain, take them onto the Hydra chain, and then bring them back onto the underlying base chain. Because I'll be doing a hell of a lot of digging into layer zeros like Polkadot, and I'm a massive fan of Polkadot, of Gavin Wood, a massive fan of Cosmos. But actually, layer ones can stay very, very competitive through a number of things because it's almost similar what they're doing. They're all trying to build ecosystems out of them. Some are doing this in the sense that they're allowing people to build their layer ones on top. Some are doing it in the sense that they're allowing people to build layer twos. It's kind of a similar thing with different technicalities. So hopefully you guys are finding this interesting so far. So Input Output Global has assembled a team of specialist engineers to use the rock solid foundations of Cardano to build toolkits for builders for building custom sidechains. Using toolkits, they have constructed an Ethereum virtual machine compatible sidechain public testnet as proof of concept. Sidechains can make Cardano extensible and more scalable without compromising its stability of security of the main chain. Extending Cardano with Sidechains. Cardano is a third-generation blockchain based on academic research and written in Haskell for methodical proof of correctness. The decentralization, security, and scalability of Ouroboros consensus protocol have been proven at scale and volume by thousands of independent stake pools. I am one of them, by the way. Anybody who's looking to stake their Cardano, all in is the ticker. I would say we've pretty much survived this bear market when most other independent stake pools that didn't take part in ISPOs or SPOs. I think SPOs have actually killed and made Cardano a lot more centralized in terms of their pools than they were before. But there are benefits with SPOs. I'm not totally hating on them. I just haven't taken part in any, and my pools suffered as a result of it. But if there's anybody out there who's recently bought or is looking for a stake pool to stake to, All In is my stake pool. We're going to start really doing things with this moving forwards. So just a consideration. And millions of wallet addresses over 5 years. The network has been running without failure since its inception in 2017. Decentralization and interoperability are key to the future of blockchain. These features ensure that no person or entity is able to control a blockchain or be restricted to just one ecosystem. To grow from both engineering and social perspectives, most applications and communities need to be empowered with their own sovereignty and design choices. To enable this interoperable environment, IOG has been working on the creation of a toolkit for building a family of sidechains. With this toolkit, anyone can start to leverage Cardano's security and infrastructure to create mission-specific sidechains. In the same way, sorry to get aggressive there, guys. In the same way that Polkadot is doing it with their parachains, or Cosmos. And by same way, I mean similar way. Not the same way, similar way. Okay? Can you see where I'm going with this? Because I have a lot of people messaging me going, what's your thoughts about Cardano? Do you not think it's going to do very well now that you're really exploring Cosmos and you know, all these other blockchains like Algorand? I'm not a blockchain maximalist. Sorry, I'm not any one specific blockchain maximalist. I'm a blockchain maximalist. And this is how Cardano stays competitive, in my opinion. It then goes on to say the EB sidechains proves the feasibility of this concept. All this work is being shared with the Cardano community and will be fully open source. The first stages was demonstrated of the EVM application at IO Scottfest in Edinburgh in late November 2022. Today we're making it available to transfer format. Talks about the toolkit, talks about how this works. You've got the main chain, and then you've got this sort of interoperability level. Now, we did see Milkameda do something like this. This led to a bridge hack because they trusted Nomad. Nomad got hacked. But this was more on the Ethereum side of things than the Cardano side of things. So if it was Cardano specific, you know, there wasn't another bridge to another chain, as in like a totally different layer one ecosystem like Ethereum. It was just layer 1 to layer 2. Those bridges are often pretty sound. And it gives you a little thing of the model here. And what we'll do is just look at how this works. So you've got the main chain, you've got the side chains with whatever script, simple you know, you can see how this essentially is going to look. But in my opinion, you could end up with, I'll use this as a whiteboard. We'll do a little bit of talking about the price because we've been pretty spot on recently. You know, if this is Cardano's main chain and you've got your blocks in here, I'm going to get slated for this drawing. A side chain, basically, when I say horizontal scaling, runs concurrent with it. But it basically will have... It will follow the Cardano's blocks, but instead of... It will basically have multiple or a lot more data in these blocks. So you'll basically bundle, or this is one way you can do a side chain, multiple transactions, and there'll be connectivity points. And some of them will just do one big transaction. Some of them will have maybe like 2, 3, whatever it may be. And then they'll just reference at the same point. So there'll be these references. So you can actually take transactions off chain. It's kind of how Hydra works. And pile a lot more transactions in there and a lot more data. And then the thing with this is actually once you've built one and you've proved it can work, well, you can continue to you can actually build side chains on top of side chains. But then you're getting into complex territory. But you can actually have many, many side chains, all referencing the main chain, all doing different things. And it can scale out horizontally. So So you see what I mean by scaling out horizontally? So this is essentially how, my face is right in the way here, guys. This is essentially how I envision the future for layer ones. It's going to be with a hell of a lot of layer twos. And actually, these layer ones almost become like what Polkadot is to its ecosystem, or Cosmos is to its ecosystem. But they have actually a feature that these other ecosystems don't have, which is they can facilitate dApps and smart contracts themselves. And this is how you get that scalability. And if Ouroboros, and it's a beautiful bit of kit, guys, proves to be the right, this is the main chain here, you know, in many different ways you can do side chains through ZK rollups or whatever it is. You know, you can, and all these can interoperate with one another. So you got this interoperability. And actually, if you can figure out a way to bridge, then you can bring on other ecosystems. It's just, you can really see how, and it gets almost into the realms of being too complex, this whole thing evolves. And yeah, just wanted to share something I'm pretty damn excited about, guys. Let's do a little bit of talking about Charles Hoskinson buying Coinbase, and then Coindesk, sorry. And then I'm going to love and leave you all. I don't want to keep you on here for too long. I just want to play this clip. In regards to the price, if you guys want another update on the price, you know, we bought on we looked at buying on the 5th of January and took action essentially there. We're not saying that this is the bottom. We're saying at this point, I personally saw value and took that punt after being out the market since up here. It's all public. We got how the bull run ended wrong last year. We thought that this was going to continue. It didn't. We had to change our stance at a later date. For Bitcoin, that was around about 44K and mitigated a lot of damage. Anybody that wants to join my community, which is very investment and crypto focused, you're welcome to check out my Patreon in the description. Link in the description. Let's go and play this clip from Charles Hoskinson. Big news in regards to him looking to buy Coindesk. This could be amazing. And actually, in a very Charles Hoskinson fashion, he's gone on to say, well, actually, I don't just want to buy it and make it another media outlet. I want to potentially try and make it the standard for media outlets through bridging it with sort of, or bringing on blockchain and kind of revolutionizing and bringing this trust element in the same way that blockchain brought it into finance, trust into media. So let's go ahead and play this clip, and then I'm going to love and leave you all.
But at that price point, unless the financials are pretty phenomenal, it does seem to be overpriced. So we'll see. But it is a great opener of a broader conversation of, should it be a priority of the cryptocurrency space to aspire to build better journalism? The failure of FTX and the excesses of 2021 really have revealed the need for better journalism. And they really have gotten to a point where rank and file everyday people should not trust the news that they read. It's just simply not honest. The books are not honest. The articles are not honest. Every single one of them has a agenda, and that agenda is not in your best interest. It's in the best interest of a small group of people who are attempting to manipulate the markets in a way for themselves or their unseen masters. So if we can build a better journalism layer, then actually I think our industry not only could reform itself, but then this could actually go into political journalism and other topics and fields that historically have been basically dead ends. Nobody trusts the news anymore. It's an institution that's broken, and rightfully so. It dug its own grave a long time ago. So anything to restore credibility, integrity, veracity, these types of things, whether it be veracity bonds or stories as NFTs, or being able to see the biases of the journalists who have written particular things and actually look at them as living objects, and be able to interact with things and provide incentives to upgrade stories, write follow-up stories. I do believe there's a great marketplace for that. So I'll keep digging. I'll keep looking. We'll keep asking around, and we'll see where this goes.
I'll leave it there. I don't want to play too much of it. You can go over to, of course, it's an AMA that he did about buying Coindesk. He's talking about, revolutionizing. That would be massive for Cardano. I think that's all I've got for you guys. We don't want to go into too much detail in regards to the price. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed this content and appreciate this content, a like is always appreciated. So as a comment, feel free to check out my Patreon in the description, and also check out the All In Crypto Statepool. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you in the next YouTube video.